Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, today we're going to put together a odds and ends video for you. I got a bunch of stuff that, again, has come into the shop. I need to get the table and the bench kind of cleared out over there. So we're going to go through these and get this stuff sorted out and put up. So we've got mostly just new items. Some of this is stuff that was sent in to me by viewers. Some of this is new purchases and acquisitions for the shop that I think you guys will find interesting. So without further ado, let's get in here and get it done. So first up, I got a nice collection of tools that was sent in by John Grabowski, who's up in Maryland. And yeah, this is some really nice stuff here. First off, he has a little brooch set back here. It comes with an 1/8 inch, 3/16, 1/4 inch, and 3/8 inch brooch, as well as the brooch bushings. Don't see a name or anything on these, but good, looks like good quality stuff. So it definitely, you know, we use that kind of stuff all the time. He also sent along some machinist tools. Looks like it may come out of a machinist box or something. Got a little 1 to 2 inch micrometer here. This one is made by good old Pratt. That's a name you don't see real often. Nice little mic though. Got a sine bar, really handy. Set of adjustable parallels. These are neat if you've never seen these. There's a little screw where you loosen up on here, but basically there's two pieces that slide, and you can adjust these to whatever width you want. There's a whole set of them here. Let me get a screwdriver and I'll show you. So there's a little screw right here. You just loosen that up and these will slide, and you can basically, because of the different wedges in there, you can get whatever width you need out of these. So these are really nice for doing a setup if you need to have an exact space between things. I've even used these like to measure keyways or something where I can't get something down in there. I'll expand this out and pull it out, and then I can measure across them. But there's a full set of these. These are made by Starrett. Little Starrett square with some levels in it. This is a little Starrett number 20, little teeny tiny square. Isn't that cute? Some of these little small ones are hard to find. I'll clean that up, get the rust off of it. It'll be great. Some little dovetail tools for setting up for threading. There's a micrometer wrench here. Several feeler gauges, different types. This one here is a fillet gauge or a radius gauge, so you can measure both inside and outside radiuses. Nice little set there. Another little square here. A couple of rules. So this rule here is kind of interesting in that instead of reading it flat across the front, everything's labeled up and down on it. I've never seen one like that. The Simplified Rule Company, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, patented July 28, 1931. Patent number 1,816,548. Interesting. Also, these are kind of cool, little short rules. This is a 3-inch rule. This was a Starrett. So they actually made some. Usually you see the 6-inch rules. I've got some short ones. These come in really handy sometimes when you need to get up in someplace small. And then there's also 2 that are 1-inch rules. And you know, you might think, well, these were just cut off, but no, these are actually made as a 1-inch rule. Let's see, this one is a Lufkin, and this one here is LS Starrett. So cool. And then this little thing here is a little test indicator, an early test indicator. This one's by Ideal Tool Company. It's got a little probe on the front, and there's a little gauge back here in the back, and it reads up to 0.010 of an inch. That's a really early style indicator. And in the little box here, we got a little snug you can use for like on a height gauge or something to put something. These are really handy to have around when you're trying to come up with something custom for holding an indicator or something. So this tool here, I ought to recognize it. I do. I've seen this tool before, but I cannot for the life of me think of what it is. It's stamped. I think it says U2M74. If you know what that is, leave it in the comment, because like I said, I've seen them. I've seen one. I just can't think of what it is. So anyway, if you know what it is, let me know. All right. So John, thanks for sending this stuff along. Definitely some good stuff in here. I'm going to get some of these things cleaned up, and I'll put them up in the toolbox. All right, up next, I got a collection of some things that was sent in by E. Simon up in Orchard Park, New York. Some interesting things here. So first off, a Machinery's Handbook, and this is a really old version of the Machinery's Handbook. Let's see, 1916, over 100 years old. This is the 5th edition. I forget what edition they're up to now, but many more versions than that. This may be the oldest Machinery's Handbook I have now, but as you can imagine, it's not in the greatest condition in the world, but it's all here. So anyway, really nice. I've actually got multiple versions of this, and it's interesting to look and see how things have changed over time. I got a bunch of trigonometry tables here in this book. You know, back in the day before everybody had a calculator in their pocket, you used to have to look up these trig tables to solve mathematical equations. Now, like I said, you can just pull out your phone and do this kind of stuff. A lot of you older guys remember doing it the old way. When I was coming along, that's how we had to look a lot of this stuff up. And then here too, there's a couple little cheat things for doing trigonometry functions. So you got, you know, right triangle and a regular triangle here. You just, depending on what you're trying to solve for, you can find the example. Like for here, I know the length of A, B, and C, and I'm trying to find this angle up here. And it gives you the equation that you use to figure all these out. So pretty cool. On one side is like that's for a right triangle on this side. So anyway, nice little cheat sheet. If you're like me, I learned all those equations back many, many years ago, but I can't ever remember them when I need to now. I know that they're there, but I just don't remember all of them. So because I don't use them every day. Here's another kind of similar type tool. So again, you look and see what you're looking for, and you can come in here and it will tell you the equation for it, depending on whether it's a right triangle or what. So anyway, some nice little cool things. Here's the instructions on how to use this. And this was the instructions for a slide rule. Didn't have the slide rule, but the instructions came with it. So anyway, pretty cool stuff. I've got a little drawer over there where I keep a bunch of these little calculator type things in them. They're fun to play around with, and they get used from time to time. I know they're there. So anyway, I'm gonna put this over there with that collection of stuff, and we'll have them if we need them. Thank you very much for sending that along. Up next, got a couple little channel decal stickers sent to me by Rusty from Rusty's Invention. So anyway, we'll put these up on the sticker board with some other stickers. And if you haven't checked out Rusty's YouTube channel, go check out Rusty Inventions on YouTube. It's got some neat stuff up there. So Rusty, thanks for sending those along as well. Up next, Roger Taylor from San Marcos, California, sent along some manuals and stuff that we can scan and get put up on the VintageMachinery.org website. So anyway, got some nice stuff in here. And man, I've got a big queue of stuff to be scanned, but we will put this in the pile. And eventually one of these days, hopefully we'll get it up on the site. I'm getting way behind on my scanning. I just keep accumulating stuff faster than I can keep up, particularly since I just picked up that whole trailer load of manuals and stuff that we brought back from California a couple of months ago when I went out to the Bardsey Bash. But we will get them done at some point in time. So Roger, thanks for sending them along. And another manual here. This one for a Kemp Smith Machine Company Model 5-5A horizontal boring, milling, drilling, and tapping machine. And this was sent in by Tom Kopp from our Knopp up at Hilltop Machine Works. Tom had said he had this copy of one and he found an original manual, and he was sending me the copy that we could post and put up on the website. So again, we'll add it to the queue and we'll get it up there as soon as we can. And Tom, thanks for sending it along. Up next comes a pretty cool little item that was sent to me by viewer Dan Keith, who is out in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And Dan does models, 3D prints. He actually draws stuff up in CAD and does scale models of stuff. And back when I was working on the Duresta bandsaw, he took it upon himself to draw it all up in CAD and actually 3D print a model of the bandsaw, and he was kind enough to send it to me. So I think he also sent one of these to Jimmy DiResta as well. But this is really cool. I'm going to put this in my office, take it up there, and put it up on one of my shelves because I think it's just a really neat, cool piece. And you can see by scale, the Monster Cat is bigger than the bandsaw, bigger than the Monster bandsaw. The Cat is absolutely huge, as you can tell in the video. Yes, I see you. Anyway, so Dan, thank you very much. Dan also, when I did my metal planer, he made a model of it as well, and I've actually got it up in my office. It's kind of cool. So Dan, thank you very much. That's just really, really impressive skills. I really appreciate that. And as long as Ginger here is photobombing the video, I've been getting a lot of questions lately about Marianne, or Marion as we changed his name to. And I hadn't really said anything about this, but unfortunately the other cat, Marianne, disappeared. Don't know what happened to him. He was here one day and the next day he was gone. So probably some kind of critter around here got him and hauled him off and had a snack out of him is my guess. But I hated to have lost him, but that's been a while back since that happened, and hadn't really said anything on the videos, but people have been asking, so I thought I would just share that. But Ginger is live and well, as you can see, and fat and happy. Next up, I got a bunch of Morse taper tooling that came in from Stephen Smith up at Firehouse Customs up near Macon, Georgia. Stephen actually was down at the shop a couple weeks ago. He was wanting some instruction on TIG brazing. I'm not sure that I'm really qualified to be a TIG brazing instructor, but I did it anyway. And he successfully TIG brazed up a piece of cast iron, so I guess I did all right, and he did all right. But when he came down, he brought along some of this stuff. This is some things he picked up at an auction that he really didn't have a need for, and left them over here with me. So got some pretty big Morse taper stuff in here. So back here on the back row, these are mostly just reducer sleeves, you know, going from one Morse taper size to another. So, you know, this would be what a number 2 to number 3 Morse taper adapter. So, or maybe that's number 4 to number 3. I'd have to go check. Yeah, I think that's 4 to 3. Or maybe 4 to 2, I don't know. Yeah, 4 to 2, because there's a 3. But Morse tapers come in different size shanks. There's a 1 to 2. Okay, maybe that's what that is, a 1 to 2, and then this is a 2 to 4. And there's a 3 in there, a 3 to 2 to 3 maybe. Yeah. So if you have a small size Morse taper tooling that you want to put into a larger socket, you just use these little adapters, and you can size them to whatever. I've got a bunch of different ones over there. These need to be cleaned up real good, probably dunked in Evapor Rust and just cleaned up, but there's nothing wrong with them. They're definitely good stuff. And some of those I'm gonna look and see what I've got, what sizes I need, and probably do some trading or something with the rest of them. Then we got some live centers, or dead centers rather. That's a number 5 Morse taper there, which is the largest that any of my tools take. Is my radial drill and my boring mill both use a number 5 Morse taper. These are number 6 Morse taper. These are dead centers. All of them in nice shape. Well, that one's got a little bit of wear on it, but I'm sure it could be turned back down to get it smooth if it needs to be. Then got a little some kind of adapter here for a tool holder. Here's a homemade fly cutter, big spade drill, and these are actually number 7 Morse tapers. I think these are number 7 Morse tapers. Huge. I don't know anything that takes something that big, but it looks like a number 7 to number 5 adapter. And both of these are number 7 to number 5 adapters, if I did my math right. This one's got just a dead center in it, but it's a separate piece inside of it. So anyway, if anybody out there needs some of this bigger stuff that I can't use, by all means, reach out to me. Maybe we can do a little horse trading or something, and find a good home for it. You know, Stephen was like he didn't want to throw it away. He didn't have any need for it. I said, well, I'll find a home for it if nothing else. So if somebody can use this, reach out to me. Best way is by email. My email address I'll put right down here below in case you want to get up with me. That's the most surefire way to get a hold of me is by my email address if you want to talk to me about some of this stuff. Anyway, Stephen, thanks for sending this. Oh, he sent one other thing down. Really cool. Let me show you this too. So Stephen also brought along this set of tongs. These are, as best I can tell, blacksmithing tongs that were used for picking up some round stock. I don't know, what is that? Six-inch diameter round stock. Got these big handles on here to help handle things. I mean, this is like a set of tongs that Paul Bunyan would have used. I can't imagine actually using this set. I mean, this thing is too heavy for one person to even pick up. So this would be a multiple person set of tongs. I'm sure this would have been used in a big heavy duty blacksmithing shop, maybe a railroad shop or something like that, where they were really turning some really big stuff. Or probably on a big power hammer, big steam powered hammer or something like that. What am I going to use them for? Well, obviously not anything that I'll be using these for, but it's a really cool piece. I mean, if nothing else, is a wall hanger. It's a conversation piece. He said he picked up 2 of these at an auction or something like that, and didn't need both of them, and thought I might like a set, so he brought a pair down to me. And I greatly appreciate it. So anyway, this is just really cool. By far, the biggest set of tongs I've got. I picked up a set of big tongs when I was out west on the Bar Z Bash thing, but they are tiny in comparison to these. These are just unbelievably huge. So Stephen, thanks a lot. So I had a viewer, Bruce Gratton, asked if I would make him a flat belt for a South Bend lathe that he's working on. It's a 1-inch belt 1 inch wide by 62 inches long. So I ordered some belting material from McMaster Carr, and I want to go ahead and get this thing made. First thing I want to do is square off the end. I use a belt cutter for this. This is made by Clipper, who makes the lacing material and stuff like that. Really makes it easy to cut a square cut. These are kind of hard to find. If you can find one and you do a lot of belts, they're really nice to have. Next thing we need to do is measure this out. It needs to be 62 inches long, so I'm just using a tape measure here. .62 inches right here. And there's going to be the lacing is going to be in there as well. So I actually like to cut this a little bit on the short side because there's going to be a little gap in between it. So I'm going to actually cut it right there, about 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, somewhere in there, short, and we'll go from there. So we'll go ahead and put this in our belt cutter again. Get to our line where we want to cut it at. And there we go. So the next thing we need to do is determine what size lace we need to use on this. So Clipper, who makes the belt lacing and the stuff that I use, they've got a little card that you can get. This little plastic card. You can order these off the internet. I've got a couple of them that I keep around, but there's little notches in the side that you can check the size of your belt. So basically you just take your belt and you find the slot that it fits into just right, and it tells you what size belt lacing to use for that thickness belt. This is going to require a number 1 size lace. I've got some number 1 lacing right here. And one thing that I will note about this number 1 lacing for the thinner belts is that it's a smaller lacing than what you use for larger belts. And I've got a really nice big clamp, little floor-mounted clamp that I use for most of my belt lacing. It doesn't work with these. This lacing is on a little bit closer together, so you actually have to use a different lacer for it. But I've got a bench-mounted version that does that as well. So this is the clamp that you put the lacing in, And with this particular one, you just mount it over here in a vise, and you use the vise to actually clamp it together. So we're going to be using this to lace our belt. So the first thing I want to do is cut the lacing, cut a piece that's going to be the right length for this particular belt, and then we'll lace it up over here. Let me show you that. So here's my lacing. It comes in a little, with that little cardboard back on it to keep the clips properly spaced. We're going to come over here and we're just going to cut it to the right width. You can use a knife to do this. I like to use a pair of scissors. There we go. And then we're going to come over to our lacer and actually put this in here. So you got the little holes in the bottom. This is the right spacing. There's a little pin that you put in the bottom. This will be the same size as the pin that's used to actually lace them together. Now that's captured in this holder, I can take the little cardboard backer off, and then we just put our belt in here, and we'll take the vise and clamp it together. Just like such. And now we've got lacing on that end. I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. Now I've got lacing on both sides, and these just join together like such, and we'll cut a pin to hold those together. Your lacing comes with the pins. I'm just going to take a pair of wire cutters here. We'll cut that to length. And then that pin will go in there, and when you put a little tension on it, it'll hold that belt together. And that belt is laced and ready to go. I'm going to box this up and get it ready to send out to Bruce, and he should be able to put it on his lathe. Up next, I thought I'd show these reamers that I had custom ground for me. You guys have been watching my channel. You saw the videos that we did on the steam locomotive connecting rods. And while doing that, I needed a tapered reamer that was at a very specific taper at 1/8 inch per foot. And I could not find anybody that makes a reamer in that size just off the shelf or whatever. And I was really struggling with how to handle that. I posted something on Facebook or something. I may have even been in a video. I don't remember. This has been a while back. And Kurt Meyer down in Lake City, Florida, contacted me. He actually has a tool sharpening business, Meyer's Tool and Service, and among other things, he sharpens tools. But he has a CNC grinder that he set up, and basically what he did is he took a regular tapered reamer for tapered pins, which is at 1/4 inch per foot, and he reground that to an 1/8 inch per foot taper. So he took a tapered reamer and basically reworked it to the taper that I needed. And this is the one that we actually used in that project to get it done. Because I know that working on this locomotive, a lot of the parts use a 1/8 inch per foot taper, I asked him, I said, well, if I get you some more reamers, can you just make me a set of 1/8 inch per foot reamers? And he agreed. So I actually had these tapered reamers over in my drawer. These were kind of in excess, extras or whatever. I took some of these honestly were a little bit used and abused, but since they're going to be reground anyway, I sent out the whole set to him, and he resharpened all these and reground them to the proper taper. So I'm proud to say that I now have a full set of 1/8 inch per foot reamers, or at least through this range. And additionally, I sent him this little gear cutter, this little involute cutter here. This was one for a job I've got coming up that I need to do, and I had the cutter, but my cutter was not very sharp, and he sharpened that for me as well. So anyway, I just wanted to show that you can get tools resharpened. I do that from time to time, particularly on stuff that's hard to find or just big and expensive and you don't really want to have to replace it. You know, some tools you really can't regrind because they get out of size. Some tools you can regrind and at least be able to continue using them. These involute cutters are designed to be resharpened over and over and over again. So perfect candidate there. And anyway, I'm happy now that I have found Kurt, because I've been needing a good shop to send stuff off to get ground. I used to have a person that did some regrinding for me, tool grinding for me, and he unfortunately passed away. So I really haven't had anybody in a while. And anyway, Kurt's not that far from me. He's only about an hour and a half away, but of course I can ship stuff down to him. If you've got tools that you want to get resharpened, reach out to them. They've got a website. I'll put a link to that down in the description for Myers Tool on how to get in touch with them. But good guys, provides a great service. And anyway, did me an awesome job on redoing these reamers for me. So Kurt, thank you. Up next, I got a bunch of catalogs and manuals and stuff that was sent in by Scott Hall up in Kansas. And he said he was cleaning out some of his stuff and knew that we put this stuff up on the website. So anyway, he sent a bunch of stuff along for us to scan and get documented and put up on the VintageMachinery.org website. So always good to have this. I got some nice stuff in here, it looks like. We'll go through this, figure out what is currently on the site, if there's anything in here that's already scanned, what isn't on the site, get it scanned and get it uploaded. But anyway, I'm not going to go through all these, but you can kind of see some of the stuff in here that he sent along. And anyway, we will get this done as soon as possible and get it uploaded for people to use and enjoy. So Scott, thanks for sending that along. This is a new purchase for the shop. Actually, I got a telephone call a week or so ago from Forbes Matthews, who's a friend of mine, lives up north of me, and he was at a estate auction, and one of the items that they had on the floor to be auctioned off was this electric winch or crane hoist, chain fall, whatever you want to call it, 1 ton, which was exactly what I need for my gantry crane. Not my gantry, but my jib crane rather, which has a 1 ton capacity on it. This one is 3-phase powered. It's got a little reel here, cord reel here, so that whenever you pull it out, the cord just automatically retracts in there. It's got the pendant on there. Really nice whole setup here. And anyway, I'm excited to see this. So this is going to be installed here pretty soon. He actually had it, when I went to pick it up, he actually had it hanging from his crane and had it powered up, and I sat there and ran it. I mean, it works great. So anyway, we're going to be getting this hooked up and up on my crane here before long, hopefully. And that'll be a really nice addition to the shop. I am going to have to get some power up there. There's a 3-phase circuit that's up there not too far away. I'm going to have to put in a box where I can tie into that and be able to get power out for this, but no, shouldn't be no big deal. It's going to be a little project to get this done, and getting this part here hoisted up and hooked up to the crane. That's going to be a challenge in itself too, although I can get it done. I've got a couple of ways we can do that, but that thing there is heavy, but we'll get it done. So anyway, I thought I'd show this. Excited to have this. This is going to make a nice addition. Won't have to be cranking on the chain fall. I'll just have a little switch down there to go up and down. Very nice. I'm over here at my Marvel bandsaw, and my friend Neil Tyson also has one of these Marvel bandsaws, and when he was restoring his, he replaced some of the wear strips that are in here, and you can see these 2 wear strips down the center where the blade runs, where they have gotten over into the wear strip and kind of nibbled it out. He had the same issue on his, so he actually made a couple of new wear strips just using some little steel strips, and he drilled them out and countersunk them. And he had a couple of extras, and he was kind enough to send these over to me because he saw that my wear strips had some wear in them, at least these 2 inside ones, and needed to be replaced. So Neil, thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and take these old ones out here and see if we can pop the new ones in. First thing I'm doing is going along with a little pick and kind of cleaning all the crud out of the Phillips head screws that hold these in. These are 632 by 3/8, and I actually got some new screws here that we're going to replace these with when we're doing this. So, all right, let's see how difficult these screws are to come out. Well, that one came out easy. If they all come out that easy, I'm going to be doing good. All right. Looks like a tight fit in there. Oh, there's one more down there in the very end I didn't get out. Okay. Now that'll come out of there. All right, let me get something. I want to clean that up real good. All right, that's much better. That fits perfect. All right, I got some new screws. I'll go ahead and put these in here. And there we go. Our new wear strips installed. Looks great. Should give us plenty more years of use. And Neil, thank you very much for sending those along. Next item here comes from Kurt Stash up in Willow Spring, North Carolina, and he sent along the bearing manual is what this is called. It's a book basically with bearing information in it. I couldn't find a date anywhere in here, but there's some advertisements and stuff up in the front from bearing companies, and a couple of things that I noticed that are missing in all of these advertisements is there's no mentions of any websites or email addresses, so that kind of tells me this is pre-internet. So, you know, I'm guessing this is sometime in the 80s, could be very early 90s, but, you know, typically by 94, 95, most companies were entering into the digital age and had websites and email addresses. So this is pre that. Again, I'm guessing 1980s, but what basically it is this has got all kinds of information on pretty much every bearing that's ever been made. And there's lookup information that you can do crossovers with and, you know, find the same bearing in one manufacturer or another. This, I think, has the potential to really be a valuable reference to me because I very often, working on old machinery, need to find bearings, and, you know, sometimes the companies that made the original bearings are no longer in business, long gone. So, you know, this kind of gives me something to cross-reference with. And anyway, it's got the dimensions and it's got bearing numbers for that, for the different types of bearings. I don't know if there's a cross-reference in here or not. I think I've got some cross-references as well, but anyway, this will be again, a valuable tool nonetheless for looking up bearing information. So Kurt, thank you very much. Very nice addition to the library. This is the 18th edition, volume 1, number 103. That's all I can tell from dating it. So, well, 1978 copyright. I just saw it on there. So even older than what I originally thought, 1978. So there you go. There it is. Thank you, Kurt. And with that, guys, I think we got it all knocked out. Got my bench cleaned back off again. I love a good clean workbench. And sometimes stuff gets stacked up around here. Now that I'm retired and got a little more time in the shop, I'm trying to kind of get things cleaned up and organized and put up and take a little bit more time to do that. It's really one of the difficult things. You get out here, you start working on a job, you get a bunch of stuff out, and it's just, things just get cluttered up. And I cannot stand a cluttered up shop. And it'd probably take me half a week to come in here and do a good thorough cleaning of the whole shop and get everything really put back up where it needs to go. But I'm trying to do it in a little bite here, there, and yonder, and getting this stuff worked through and getting it put up where it goes in the shop once I get it sorted through really helps out a lot. And with that, guys, that is a wrap. As always, thanks so much for watching. Please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Those thumbs up and comments are always greatly appreciated. It helps feed the algorithms on YouTube. Really helps out a lot. click that like button, leave a comment, subscribe if you have not already. And also a big, huge thank you to those guys who support the site financially through Patreon and PayPal. It allows me to be able to take the time to shoot these videos, edit the videos, bring them to you, all the work that goes along with that, which is a lot of work. And I'm glad to do it. And I appreciate those of you out there who I'm glad that I'm doing it and pitching a little bit to make it worthwhile. With that, guys, we will sign off. We will catch you on the next video again. Thanks for watching.